Hi Year 9, so welcome to part 3 where we're going to learn how to add and subtract two numbers that are written in standard form. And weirdly this is harder than multiplying and dividing. That's why I've done it second, okay? So here is a number in standard form and I'm being asked to add it to another number in standard form. Now what I'm first of all going to do is just to demonstrate how this works, I'm going to write these numbers out as ordinary whole numbers, okay? So this is going to be 41 million, 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be 20 million. Okay, so let's just add it up the long way. What we're going to get is 61 million. And then change that back into standard form, which is 6.1 times 10 to the power of 7. So notice what happens. If I'm being asked to add two numbers in standard form, all I need to do is add these two numbers, okay? 4.1 plus 2 is 6.1, and then the powers will stay the same as long as the powers were the same in the first place. So the answer is just add these up, and then the power of 7, because they're both power of 7, they will stay the same. As long as the powers are the same, it won't change in the answer, okay? I hope that's obvious why, okay? So it'd be the same if we're being asked to subtract two numbers in standard form. All I'm going to do is do 6.4 minus 1.7. So 6.4 minus 1.7. Let's do it properly. Okay, we're going to get 7. It's going to be 4.7. So 4.7. And because the powers are the same, nothing will change. So it's going to be 10 to the power of 4. Okay. Same with C. That's easy. That's just going to be 9 times 10 to the negative 5. This one's going to be 0.8 times 10 to the 6. Now be very, very careful. Notice that that is not in standard form. So I would need to rewrite that as 8 times 10 to the minus 1. That's 0.8 in standard form. Times 10 to the 6 becomes 8 times 10 to the 5 is the correct answer. So always make sure your answer is actually in standard form. Same goes for part E. You're going to get 11.3 times 10 to the 3, because we're adding, we're not multiplying here. Be very careful. And then we need to change that. That's going to be 1.13 times 10 to the 3 becomes 1.13 times 10 to the 4. Okay, so always check your answer is in standard form. So as long as the powers are the same, adding and subtracting is very, very easy. The problem comes, no, in fact, just practice it first. Okay, so have a go at these questions here. Stop your video and have a go. Okay, here we go. Here are the answers. Just let me know if any of that doesn't make sense. Okay, check your work. Okay, but that should be easy because you'll notice for every single one of these questions, the power of 10 is always the same. The question is what happens when the powers of 10 are not the same, like we have here? 5.2 times 10 to the 6 is a number in standard form, plus 3.1 times 10 to the 5. What you can't do here, you can't add these numbers up. You can't do 5.2 plus 3.1 and get 8.3 times 10 to the what? What is 10 to the 6 plus 10 to the 5? You can't do it, okay? You cannot do that. Doesn't make sense. So we need a slightly different strategy here, okay? What we need to do is we need to make it so that the powers of 10 are the same as each other. We have two options. We can either change this to a 5, or we can change this to a 6. Okay? So I'm going to try and change this one to a 6. Okay, so I want to write 3.1 times 10 to the 5 equals something times 10 to the power of 6. Well, I think what we could do, if we could write this as something times 10 to the power of minus 1 times 10 to the 6. Okay, would give me the same thing. So I think I can rewrite this as 3.1 times 10 to the minus 1 times 10 to the 6. That you look at these expressions, they're exactly the same at the moment. They both be equal to 3.1 times 10 to the 5. Well, what is 3.1 times 10 to the minus 1? It's 0.31 times 10 to the 6. So instead of adding up what I've got, I'm going to add up instead 5.2 times 10 to the 6 plus 0.31 times 10 to the power of 6. Now it becomes easy because the powers of 10 are the same. So it's going to become 5.51 times 10 to the power of 6. Once the powers are the same, the power will not change when we're adding. Okay, don't get confused between adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing. Very, very different. Okay. So let's do B. I'm going to rewrite this as 2.3 times 10 to the 7 minus 0.4 times 10 to the 7. Okay, these two, let me just change colour. This is the same as this, but now I've made it so that the powers are the same as each other. And once I make the powers the same as each other, it's really, really easy. That's going to become 1.9 times 10 to the power of 7. Let's go for D. Now this is trickier. Are we going to change this to a minus 5 or are we going to change this to a minus 4? Well, it doesn't actually matter. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to a minus 4. So I'm going to do 7.1 times 10 to the minus 4 minus, just going to put a box there, minus something times 10 to the minus 4. So 2 times 10 to the minus 1 times 10 to the minus 4 is the same as 2 times 10 to the minus 5. So that's going to become 0.2 times 10 to the minus 4. So 0.2 in there. So that now becomes easy. It's going to be equal to 6.9 times 10 to the minus 4. And that's in standard form. So I'm quite pleased with that. That's okay. I'm happy with that. Ooh, this one's a lot trickier. E. We're going to change this to a 10 to the minus 2. So let me just clear some space up the top. Okay, I need to write 2.3 times 10 to the minus 1 as something times 10 to the 2. Well, I could write that as 2.3 times 10 to the 1 times 10 to the, sorry, no, that's not right. 10 to the minus 3, in fact, times 10 squared would be equal to 2.3 times 10 to the minus 1. So I'm going to have to write this as 0.0023 times 10 to the 2. So I'm going to rewrite this as 5.23 times 10 squared plus 0.0023 times 10 squared. Okay? Because you will notice that this expression and this expression are the same, but now I've got the powers of 10 the same. It's just going to become 5.2323 times 10 to the 2. Okay? So the objective is just to make sure that the power of 10 are the same. Once the powers of 10 are the same, it's easy to use that little cheat to add them together. If the powers of 10 are not the same, you cannot do what I've asked you to do, okay? If any of that doesn't make sense, please ask. Okay, here's some questions for you to practice. So stop the video. Okay, there's the answers. If you need any help with any of it, then just ask. I'm very, very happy to support you with that. Okay, a few more tricky ones, really, really tricky ones. Remember, before you start, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to change anything that's not in standard form, like these numbers here. You're going to want to change them into standard form first. Okay? Remember, you're adding and subtracting these numbers. You're not multiplying and dividing. Okay? Don't get confused. Okay, stop the video and have a go. Okay, here's the answers. Okay, check with me. If any of you got any of them wrong and you don't know why, just ask. Okay? Right. That concludes your introduction videos for this week. So, anything at all.